Hi, this is Ross Harrison with Precision Health and Fitness, and I'm here with another video in my series of how to stay healthy and active and whatnot during the coronavirus pandemic. Um, so today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to talk a little bit about the program overall, and then at the end I'm going to have a couple exercises to work on some things that a lot of people don't work on. So I want to start with just talking about the overall approach to a program. I see a lot of stuff out there that basically has the attitude of, well, just do something, just be active, just do this, or you know, do 100 push-ups a day, or 1,000 crunches, or however many jumping jacks, or whatever. Um, and it's like, why? If your program is based around one exercise, obviously that's not going to be good for you. I mean, sure, you get your heart rate up, some cardiovascular stuff, you get some muscles moving, blood pumping. It's all good stuff, but if you're going to take the time and put the energy into doing activity, you may as well do something that's going to actually help your body in the long run. So I came across this term in literature, fitness literature, I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago, and it struck me as odd. But then the more I looked and saw it, it was so accurate. Um, People talk about mirror muscles, and I don't know if anybody's heard that term, but they say that everybody overworks their mirror muscles and neglects a lot of other stuff. And I thought about it, and it's like, and what mirror muscles are, if you look at yourself in the mirror, what you see is likely the things that you're going to train most, like chest, front of your shoulder, abs, quads, biceps. The vast majority of people have overtrained those muscles and undertrained the muscles that are the opposing muscles that should balance them out. So you end up with that's where a lot of like this posture comes from. Yet stuff is so overworked and so tight that it literally pulls your body forward to the point where you can't stand up straight anymore. And then as you get older, gravity just continues that to the point where, by the time a lot of people are 70, 80, and some of this is actually even happening now at younger ages, um, people can't stand up straight. And naturally, if you can't stand up straight, you're going to have back problems. You're going to have all kinds of problems throughout your body. So, why would you train at home doing something that's going to actually just exacerbate that and make that happen even faster? And if somebody's program is based around doing push ups, you're training all of this stuff even more. And if you're not doing anything for the opposite side of your body, it's going to happen even faster. And for a long time, it was like, well, have balance, have one to one. If you do a set of like bench press or push ups, then do a set of rows. Like, okay, that's a good starting point. They are finding now more and more to actually be healthy based on the way people use their muscles. If you really want to balance things out, for every row of a push type movement, like presses, push ups, and things like that, you should actually do ideally 3 reps of muscle like a pulling motion, which a lot of people don't do much pulling at all. Um, so, just great. If you want to do push ups, great. If you want to do other stuff, it all has its place. Just make sure you're doing something for the muscles that help them out, that support them, that are the antagonists. Um, in that case, like rows, obviously, if you have dumbbells, weights of any kind, you have a whole ton of options. You can do all kinds of just rows where the weight starts away from you, you pull towards you. Cable machines, even just cables, hook them on the door, pull them towards you, whatever. There's tons of options. For now, I'm focusing on things that you can do if you have no equipment whatsoever. And so with that in mind, I'm going to give you just a couple exercises that will help out the areas of the body that are often neglected. Um, People train the hell out of their quads. They do. Like a lot of times, even when they squat in a way that overstresses the quads and the knees and doesn't get as much of like the hamstring glute activity. It's like you can do an exercise, almost every exercise, you can do in ways that overstress certain muscles over the other. And if you're not consciously thinking about what you're wanting to work on, you're going to stress the muscles that you use best. And usually, like, a lot of times it's quads. And so hamstrings and glutes often don't work very well. And if the glutes do engage, they typically engage the low back at the same time, even when they don't need to. So this is a really simple exercise, and simple doesn't mean easy to do correctly, but it's a simple exercise anybody can do with no equipment whatsoever. And this exercise it does target the glutes, some hamstrings, some low back involvement, but basically just lay on the floor. And I like to have my arms at my sides just because my upper body gets to relax more. Some people like to have their hands up here. Whatever you want is fine. Just find a position that minimizes tension. And I'm not going to go with these. I'm not going to go through all the details I normally would. I'm just going to give you the biggest takeaways on how to do this with most effectiveness, least amount of damage. So really the goal with this is to feel your glutes as much as possible, your low back as little as possible. And this is just your standard lift one leg. Call it a one leg glute raise. And really, for me, this is my range of motion. And a lot of times you'll see people like just like lifting their leg over and over. Like, my glute's doing almost nothing when I do that. If I do that, it's working. I mean, it's actually working pretty hard. At that moment, there is significant tension. It's isolated right here. And I feel a little tension in my back, but not much. If I try to push higher, and you'll see the back lumbar curve will start to increase, and it's putting compressive force on my low back. I don't want that. The goal isn't to lift your leg as high as you can. It's to maximize the tension in your glutes at the top of the motion. And typically I'll just hold for like 2 to 3 seconds, relax, but not totally relax. Just relax from that position, let the leg come down, and bring it back up. The other big thing to watch is just when you're lifting your leg, try to make sure that your knee's not bending. So if the leg comes up and it's doing something like that, that's really just a sign that your body is cheating. You're using momentum from bending the knee to get height in your leg. But as much as you can, just try to keep your whole leg, your back, really your whole body as relaxed as possible, other than the glute, maybe some of the hamstring, and a little tension in the low back. Obviously repeat on both sides, but that's just a really good way to start using some of the muscles that often get neglected. Glutes are incredibly important for back health, hip health, just core stabilization, all kinds of stuff. And that's a lot of people like won't do that, or they'll want to add a ton of weight, or they'll, get a machine that has a cable attached to it and start pulling a bunch of weight with their leg. And really, the glute being the primary goal often just ends up doing a very small percentage of the work. With a simple exercise like that, it does the vast majority of the work. And it's a great way to get your brain in touch with those muscles, and it will help incorporate them more with everything you do. So the other exercise I have for you today is an upper back exercise. And this one, you can do it on the floor. I'm going to demo it just on a little disc, just so you can see a little better. You can use, if you have nothing and you want a little more space, you can use like even a couch cushion. I was playing around with a medicine ball. If you have a bigger exercise ball, that's what I actually usually use this with. But really, in a way, it doesn't matter. You still get the primary benefit out of this. And this is sort of it's a reverse fly. I'll show this from a couple different angles. And the increase height with this just gives you a little more range of motion. And when doing it on the floor, it'll look exactly the same. Your arms just won't have as much space to move. So this will just allow you to see it a little better. And you just want a little bend in your elbows, and then really you're just pulling up. And usually the first thing people do with this is when their arms are going up, they're thinking they want to get as far back as possible so they end up like flinging their arms back or their arms straighten when they raise. Um, all of that basically just nullifies the whole intent of the exercise. When you're doing this, at the top point, you should feel a pretty good contraction that goes along the back, sort of right in between your shoulders. If you draw a line between your shoulders, that's essentially the area that you're trying to work. And so when you're in that position, again, this is when you can just bring it up, hold for a few seconds, and just feel a squeeze. You don't want to contract everything. Like, you don't want tension going up here. You don't want your arms to be all tense and stiff. You just want enough tension in your arms that you hold them straight. But the movement all comes from the back. So at the top, you just feel a nice squeeze across your shoulders. And so from the side, it's the same kind of thing. It's just you're coming straight up. It's not, you don't want to pull back. If you pull back, it just, you involve your lats, your bigger muscles, which are great. But in this case, you want to train the ones that are higher. And there's a lot of great exercises for the lats. There's not a lot of great there's still a lot of great exercises for the upper back too. But there's a lot more for the bigger muscles in the lats. And this one does a really good job of isolating the upper back in between, which is an area that a lot of people almost don't train at all. Like, they'll, even if they're doing rows or pull-ups or whatever, you're mostly working a lot of the bigger muscles a little lower in the back. And so this one, I'll just do a little more. Just up, squeeze, hold. And if you want a little extra weight, that's fine. Again, you're at home, anything works. If you want to just, hold some cans of something or bottles of water or whatever, you don't need much weight for this to be an effective exercise. This isn't something that you should be doing with like 50-pound dumbbells or something. It's that's not the purpose. But these muscles, the muscles across the top, and there's some other ones, but those are some of the primary muscles that will help you avoid this kind of stuff. Avoid the over contraction from doing too many push-ups, doing a lot of the bench presses, doing a lot of the things we naturally do every day. Just sitting on your phone, a lot of times people's shoulders are forward and they're in this kind of position. Working those muscles back there, even with no weight, and just getting them to contract will go a significant way to just being able to have good posture and really less pain and better function throughout your entire life. So 2 simple things, along with the idea of just think about the balance of your overall program. If you find yourself always working like your mirror muscles, try to come up with stuff that you can do to work the other muscles. Don't neglect the back of your body, because it's the thing that's going to keep you balanced. So that's it. Ross Harrison, Precision Health and Fitness. Hope everybody's doing well, and I'll be back with more later. Have a great day.